Hi, I'm Ishu.
I'm Sabby.
I'm Jason, and welcome to the LightBulb Podcast, the unofficial podcast of Phillips Academy Andover.
We want to give a big thanks to everyone who's listened to our pilot episode last week, and we hope that you enjoyed it. If you haven't yet, you can go check it out through SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and any other major podcast streaming platform.
Just search up the name of our podcast, The Lightbulb, on any of these services and listen away.
Most importantly, of course, we hope that you're all staying safe and keeping informed during those difficult times. That is why today, we'll be bringing you fascinating yet widely unknown news that we found to be just as insightful and worth shedding light on as more popular news outlets. Hopefully, these hand-picked doses of news will surprise and inspire you. Undercover news!
So, first up, Spotify has recently announced that there are more than 65 different songs with the word coronavirus in their title. That's a fairly large number of songs in my opinion, but it doesn't make sense. Songs usually take so much more time and require a lot of work at recording and editing in the studio. How is this possible? Well, I can say this much. Artists have so much more time on their hands right now during this quarantine, and they're able to do most of the work on their personal computers and distribute it on popular music apps like Spotify. One of the most popular songs during this quarantine crisis is La Cumbia del Coronavirus, which has a catchy tune to back up an important message: wash your hands. So I would like to sing a couple of bars from this world-renowned lyrics. Coronavirus, coronavirus, llévanse las manos, háganlo seguido. Coronavirus, coronavirus, pónganse las vías en lugares concurridos.
Very nice, Ishu. I'm pretty sure soon we'll have a podcast just to hear you.
Thank you.
Amazing. I think that is actually Grammy worthy. If the Grammy does not nominate you next year, I think that's actually a pretty shameful on their part, to not have included such a spectacular performance.
Of course.
Yes, of course.
As we have seen, coronavirus has had quite an influence on music, but it's also had an influence on cinema and theater. So I guess we all know that we can't go to the movies anymore. What? However, in places like San Diego, there have been drive-ins that are reopening to screen new movies. Remember, this retro idea was introduced almost a century ago.
Wow.
But what's cool about this is we can actually go to the movies and maintain the experience of getting popcorn, sitting in seats, and getting out of the house, but doing it safely and in your car, which is super cool.
We also have some really shocking news from New Delhi. Reportedly, a man at the New Delhi hospital caused a large crowd and quite a big ruckus as he climbed onto the third floor of a building using the window ledges and threatened to jump off while claiming that he was COVID-19 positive. He also had a blade in his hand and threatened to cut off his wrists and spill his blood onto anyone who came near him and infect them. When doctors and policemen tried to calm him down, he spat at them in an effort to spread the virus. Of course, eventually he was sedated and ultimately tested negative for COVID-19, according to doctors.
Wow, that is very shocking like you said, Jason.
Indeed.
But
That's scary.
yes, it's very scary. On a more serious note, completely unrelated to this coronavirus crisis that's been ongoing, we hope to take a moment to show some respect for Ahmed Arbery, who's out jogging in a nearby neighborhood when a white man and his son, Gregory and Travis McMichael, started to follow him. They claimed he was suspicious and seemed to be a burglar only because he was African American. They shot him twice. And until now, the McMichaels have not been charged because they claimed it was a civilian act of cautiousness. But today, though, in response to a video of the murder, numerous calls, complaints, and petition signatures, the McMichaels were arrested. If you would like to take part in a meaningful tribute to Ahmaud Arbery, make sure you go out for a jog in your neighborhood wearing a white t-shirt, which is what Arbery had on the day of his murder. And now, we would like to take a moment of silence.
During last week's episode, we heard about Jason's story through airport security. This week, I'm going to take you guys into my home. As you may know, it is the month of May, which is also known as National Asian and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. I think it's important that we bring to the forefront the joy that Asian entertainers have brought to so many living rooms in the US during this time of hunkering down. After watching 2019's Parasite, my mom has been obsessed with South Korean cinema. This eventually led her to the world of K-dramas. Netflix and Amazon have decided to drop them by the caseload during this pandemic. US viewers are happily binge watching them at home. They're becoming pretty mainstream and have even made their ways into major dailies like the New York and LA Times.
All my friends are talking about K-drama, and I have no idea what they're saying.
I'm talking about the slew of drama series, rom-coms from the land of the morning calm, South Korea. I will give a quick disclaimer. I am very American, so I'm sorry if my accent and pronunciation butcher any names. So, the series that my mom has been most obsessed with is Crash Landing on You. And it's basically a show that tells the love story of Suri, a South Korean heiress and entrepreneur, and the dashing Captain Ri, a North Korean special forces captain who also comes from an upper-class family. Suri happens to have this Dorothy moment while paragliding near the demilitarized zone between the two Koreas, and a tornado swept her into a tree, and then straight into the arms of the Wizard of Oz himself, Captain Ri, who was on foot patrol on the northern side of the 38th parallel.
Wow.
But instead of reporting the Southern Belle, the gallant captain, with the help of 4 other North Korean soldiers, harbored Suri, fell in love with her, and eventually helped her escape back to Seoul. Crash Landing on You also treats the viewers with snippets of daily life in a small North Korean town near the border. It shows the life of housewives doing communal tasks like making kimchi for the whole town. And unfortunately for me and my family, that meant my Filipino mom was inspired to make every meal in our house Korean. Now, my mom is a great chef, of course, and we do appreciate different Asian cuisines. But my white dad and my Asian sister and I had to endure more Asian food than we have ever had. Let's just say that our poor, low-spice tolerant taste buds surely took a beating. And so did our ears. Courtesy of my mom, who only speaks praises about Captain Ri. Every time she watched an episode. Who knows? Maybe my dad got jealous of this mysterious, tall, attractive, fictional captain, because when she mentioned him at dinner, my dad would say,
Well, if he's all that, wouldn't he have been a first lieutenant, not a captain?
He makes a good point, I have to say.
I was so tired of my mom talking about these fictional characters. The cheesy elevator music playing in our house for hours a day. This was like, the background music for when 2 characters fall in love and make eye contact for minutes at a time. I was tired of kimchi for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and dessert. And most of all, I was tired of Captain Ri. One day, my mom told me,
Anak, you should watch the K-dramas. You can actually learn from them. They have 821 class.
"What's that?" I said, not very enthusiastically. And in her very words, she said,
It is a seminal coming-of-age series that has a tight script. It's socially relevant, deals with racism and interracial relationships, LGBTQ plus issues, entrepreneurial spirit, and a deep family bond.
You know what? That kind of sounded familiar to me. So I told her, Mom, why would I watch a fictional show when I can watch Itaewon Class taking place in real life with the Kardashians? She looked at me in horror.
Anak, I did not raise you to watch shows like that. How do you learn anything from that?
Well, I replied, interracial relationships? That's literally all of them. Kim and Kanye, Khloe and Tristan, Kylie and Travis. LGBTQ plus issues, that's Caitlyn Jenner. Entrepreneurial spirit, literally all of them run businesses. And a deep family bond. The Kardashians stick together like rice. How do you expect them to make a show for 18 seasons?
When you said entrepreneurial spirit, I just had a deep, aha moment to Shark Tank.
Bravo. I think, you see, I might not have understood any of the references that you said, but that was truly inspirational.
Let's say that besides having an immense obsession with K-dramas, my mom has also come to appreciate the Kardashians a little more as well during this quarantine. As you may also be aware of, hopefully you're aware of it, Mother's Day, May 10th, this Sunday, is coming up tomorrow, and since we have so much time on our hands nowadays, there's been a lot of time for us to prepare gifts and show our appreciation
Yes,
for
indeed,
mothers.
there's
Oh
a lot
wait,
of time.
it's Mother's Day? I mean, of course. How could I ever forget something as important as that? So, what did you guys prepare for your Mother's Day gifts? Are there any, gift suggestions for ones that could be made very quickly? Preferably within a day?
Well, you see, I actually started preparing for my Mother's Day gift pretty early on. One day about a month ago, I was just, randomly playing some chords on my guitar, and I came up with this melody for a possible song. And since I knew that Mother's Day was coming, I decided to, make it a song dedicated to thanking my mom about all the things she's done for me when I was growing up as a kid. It's literally going to be named Thank You Mama. And I'm planning to finish making the song by Mother's Day and show it to her as my gift. Actually, here, let me show you guys. Here's a tiny bit of the song.
'Cause you were always there for me from the beginning, raising me up from day one. And it's not all the big things, but the little things that adds up. And I know I can't be quite the mess, but I promise you I won't forget all the love you gave and the gifts you made for me. So let me give you one for a change. Thank you, Mama.
Amazing! This is so good.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. How about you, Sabby?
Well, my mom has been missing her home and family in the Philippines because I guess we were supposed to visit her mom this month, but unfortunately our plane tickets got canceled, obviously. So I figured that I would be making her some pandesal.
Wait, what is pandesal?
So it's basically like this Filipino brioche type of roll, and I'm going to fill it with this filling called ube, which is like a purple sweet potato, and they have a lot of ube flavored things in the Philippines. And this takes quite a long time to make. It's actually brioche takes a few days, so I've already started on it. And additionally, it's also a tradition in my household to wake up super early, and my sister normally handpicks some flowers from our garden, and then my dad helps make some pancakes, I make an eggs benedict, and we make some freshly squeezed OJ and bring it to my mom's bed. And she gets brunch in bed, and then we present her with a few gifts, and then we play her favorite cheesy Taylor Swift songs.
Such dedication. So Ishu, we've told you about our plans for Mother's Day, and I'm sure you too have prepared amazing gifts for such a special day. Would you care to share?
You see, I I actually decided to make a homemade card for my mom.
And when was this decision made?
Let me check. 10 seconds ago. That doesn't matter.
Yes, of course. Anything else?
So, as you may know, I am a culinary savant, especially when it comes to making the most delectable waffles.
And would those be from scratch? Because literally you could just make some batter, a waffle machine, and syrup. That requires absolutely no skill at all. Where is the effort? You have to love your mother, Ishu.
Yes, and that is where the effort and the love comes in. Because when I pour that powdery mixture in with milk and eggs, I mix love into it as well. As you can see, it's the thought that counts, not the time it takes to make it. Imagine if you were a mother and you walk downstairs and you usually don't expect your son to cook anything for you or even bake anything for you. And you smell like buttered waffles. Wow. And I'm gonna put raspberries on the side so it looks colorful and very
that'll make your day.
Nice. That's very nice.
And
I love how that plan was just made up in the last 30 seconds.
But you know what? You're gonna put effort in it. Your mother's gonna appreciate it.
The effort's all that matters.
But actually, on a more serious note, I'm very thankful for everything my mom does to support me. She's a lung doctor at the local hospital, and she's been working overtime with her patients who have been tested positive for the virus, and I hope she stays safe. My mother loves me so much that rather than hugging me as soon as she walks into the doors of our house after work, she goes straight to the shower and washes off any possible remains of the virus on her body, just to make sure I stay safe. And then she hugs me afterward. Thank you, Mom.
And yes, of course, we are all very grateful for our mother's efforts. And now, we would like to take some time to mention possible arts and crafts that make great Mother's Day gifts if you haven't already got the chance to make one.
For example, you can make small coupon cutouts from paper and write on stuff like free chores and services at any time of the day. For example, free hugs or free loading the dishwasher, even though I already do that because I'm not asked to.
Whoa.
Free making dinner, or maybe a free back massage. These tokens make great gifts.
Wow, that is a great idea. I might even use that. Thank you, Sabby. Also, I was thinking about it. You could even offer to pose for a selfie with your mothers. My mom often asks me to take a picture with her, and it means a lot to parents to have memories of their children as they grow up, so that when they are older, they can skim through years and years of memories in their photo books. Memories that will last a lifetime.
To all the moms possibly listening out there, thank you. We really appreciate you, and thanks for dealing with us while we're, driving the family crazy.
Now you will get to listen to us drive one of our fellow Andover students crazy with our therapy session.
Indeed. The next bit is a segment that we like to call Silver Lining, where listeners call into our podcast and describe to us their personal troubles, while we try our best to help. Spoiler alert, we're not very good therapists.
Welcome to Silver Linings, the part of our podcast where we listen to our listeners about their complaints from quarantine life and find the bright side of their dark cloud. Hi, who's calling today?
Hello guys, I'm Will.
Hello, Will. How's it going?
I'm very tired. You see, it's 11:51 p.m. and yes. My question is regarding to topic of mathematics, and I just have one simple question. What exactly are limits?
Okay, so basically, I thought a lot about your question on limits, even though you just asked me it like 10 seconds ago. And basically what I've come up with is, so you imagine this long road, and that road has to reach a place, doesn't it? I mean, it's not going to keep going on and on forever, is it?
How's that supposed to help?
Do you have any other questions to ask?
So, I recently ran out of toilet paper, and so how would I deal with that?
Okay, so as you may know, the world is in a great toilet paper crisis right now, and toilet paper has been becoming much harder to find. Isn't that right, Jason?
That's correct. As a matter of fact, a lot of families, especially in the United States, have started using regular tissue paper to serve the purpose of toilet paper. So yeah, I would agree with that.
But as your therapist, for the silver linings segment, we discourage you from using regular tissue paper and disposing of it inside your toilet, as that can cause clogs in. Do you know if your house or the building that you live in uses a septic tank or a regular sewage system?
No idea.
I have a really good solution. So, my dad showed me the other day on one of his news channels that he browses. There's this toilet that you can buy for I think it's $10K. And it'll probably solve your toilet paper shortages because you don't need toilet paper at all. It has this built-in shower feature that goes under you and cleans it thoroughly. You don't have to do anything on your part. You don't have to wipe under.
I think that's just a bidet.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that just be a bidet?
But it's different. It's built into the toilet.
So is the bidet. But you see the irony. So, you know where bidets are invented, right? They're invented in Italy. I think, to solve your problem, you need, of course, a toilet with a bidet. So I think you should go to Italy right now. That would just solve your problems.
That would be great. I have many connections in the great country of Italy. Maybe I could, try to find a way through that lockdown. Though I'll try to find my way through it.
Yes,
Thank you guys.
Besides running out of toilet paper, which we know it's a fate that we all dread, but how is your mental state during this time?
I'm just, very bored, and I think every day feels the same. I don't even know if it's Monday, it's Tuesday, it's Wednesday. I don't know. What day is it today, guys? I forgot.
Will, today is Saturday.
So each of us have come up with a solution that you, along with many other listeners, might want to try to face boredom. Jason, would you like to go first?
Yes, of course. You see, as your therapist, and I'm very experienced in this field. I've been a therapist for around 5 years now, and that's about, that's a pretty long time, I would say. And, all the experience that I've gathered over the past years tells me that, when you're bored, right, and all the negative thoughts come up, and you're like, oh, I'm so bored, there's nothing to do, right? And you're like, how do I even survive? The way to push forward is actually, my experience has told me, the way you think about it is, you already have nothing to do. So, you're at the rock bottom. There's nowhere to go but up. So, the only way that this is going to turn out is that it's going to get better. So, just think like that, and it will get better because it can't get worse than this.
Well, I can't say I've been in therapy as long as Jason has. However, I am consulting with my other therapist friend, Ishu, and we believe that the advice Jason gave you is completely useless. Dude, of course you're going to be bored, but you didn't give him anything to do. The point of asking him the question about being bored was so that we could tell him things he could do when he's bored.
So
you
what
just
do you
told
think
him
he can do?
Why he's bored, but no. You didn't solve anything. You're a terrible therapist.
Would you like to try?
How many people did you actually help to conduct therapy? I am aware that you've been a therapist for 6, 5, 4. What? How many years? I don't even know. But
Several
how many?
years.
Yeah, several years.
I've had one patient,
Have you helped?
but it's been a long time patient.
Is it yourself?
It was on this day that 15-year-old Jason Jing died of shame. Rest in peace.
That would explain why you are who you are.
No comment. I plead the fifth.
Anywho, if you and our other listeners are feeling bored, I would just recommend what I do all the time when I'm bored, which is go to the kitchen, grab leftovers or like, things that are about to go bad, like completely random ingredients.
And eat them.
No. And try to make something creative, innovative, and edible, and then try to feed them to people around you. What? Now, like, for example, I found this bowl of mashed potatoes and some, like, peas and, like, roasted vegetables, and it looked absolutely disgusting. So what did I do? I threw it all in a blender, and then I, like, baked it, and then I gave it to my sister, and she actually liked it. So experimenting in the kitchen is a great way to spend your time, and it's sustainable.
I think that's horrible advice. Simply due to the fact that Sabby is an experienced baker, whereas Will, or Ishu, or myself, as a matter of fact, if we took that advice, we would poison our entire family and ourselves.
I don't think my mom would let me into the kitchen. Because I think the last time I did that, I cut my finger.
What?
Oh, Okay, we don't need to go about that topic for moi. Parce que I'm very bad with knives. Okay, Ishu, what would you do? Because remember, we both agreed about how Jason's no help. But what would you do when you're bored?
When I'm bored, I like to play around with a younger sibling. But, like, if you don't have a sibling, that's fine. You can...
Oh, I do have a sibling. I do have a younger sibling.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Ishu, what do you do?
So, Will, do you like to play basketball or soccer outside in the small yard outside your house?
Oh, I am aware of that. I did read your bio. I think you mentioned that you like to dunk on your little brother, and it makes you feel extraordinary, tremendous about your athletic abilities. Is that so?
Yes, it is so. And that's why I suggest to you, when you're in boredom, always contact a younger sibling or older sibling, whichever you prefer, and ask them. Who knows? It'll make their day probably. They probably are also bored. And you really need to also think outside of just yourself. Imagine how they feel.
Anywho, I believe that besides, making a fun masterpiece in the kitchen, when you don't have time, or when your sibling doesn't want to play with you, I would suggest this new, innovative, fun thing I found on TikTok called Wikipedia racing.
Huh? So, What is Wikipedia racing?
Thank you, Will. That's actually a good question. Wikipedia racing, you can do it many different styles. You can do it with a friend, or you can do it solo. But basically, you start on a page. Let's say you start on a page about Cheez-Its. Then what you try to do is you try to get from that page on Wikipedia about Cheez-Its to a completely different page. For example, cowboy boots. And you do this by clicking different links of different items referenced in the Wikipedia pages, and you try to get from one point to the other as fast as you can. Maybe you can do this with a friend over FaceTime and see who can get from Cheez-Its to cowboy boots the fastest. Or you can record yourself with a timer and compare your score to other friends and brag about it. Because yes, it is brag-worthy.
Wow, that is very interesting. I should do that.
Wow! I highly recommend it. As the most qualified therapist.
Will, wait, how about, I think you should be the judge on who is the most qualified.
Okay, Jason, if I have to say that, it's definitely not you.
Doesn't that feel sad? Oh, I'm kind of mean.
Jason, do you want some therapy?
It doesn't matter if you have 6 years or several years. It doesn't matter. Like, the thing is, are you actually good at it?
No.
Oh, I actually like the Wikipedia racing thing. That sounds cool.
You heard it here, folks. Wikipedia racing is the best way to fill your boredom.
Which we all compiled great knowledge into finding and
Yes.
imparting to you guys.
So there we go. Wikipedia racing is the solution to your complaints. Well, thank you very much. And hopefully we shall see you again soon.
Good night, everyone.
Once again, it's time for the riddle of the week. Like last time, the first person to contact us with the correct answer will win a $10 Amazon gift card.
Just think of all the things that you can do with these $10.
I know, right? I could certainly use those $10 to pay off my house mortgages. In Monopoly, when I'm playing with my little brother.
All jokes aside, let's hear the riddle for today. I forgot the riddle. I always forget the riddle. A mother and her daughter were walking by a pond, and they saw a sign that said, "Don't fish here." So she threw in a rock to see. Why?
What?
Ishu, what's your answer?
I think I have the right answer, but so basically, you have to dissect this question. It's like a math problem. You have to take each piece separately and then combine them when you understand each piece more thoroughly. It's like a proof, except it's probably not. But so when I think of the "don't fish here" sign, I'm trying to take it abstractly. I'm trying to think outside the box. Like, it could literally mean "don't fish in this pond right here," but like that defeats the purpose of a riddle. A riddle is meant to be creative. So I think that when Sabby says "don't fish here," I think it like you think of the word "fishy," and "fishy" is a word used to describe a suspicious-looking scene, and that usually happens when there's a crime scene. The answer couldn't just be Dwayne Johnson just because he's The Rock. I mean, because I know C's are much bigger.
And that's it for the second episode of our podcast. Congratulations on making it to the end.
If you enjoyed this episode, follow our podcast on your favorite streaming service to be notified when future episodes are uploaded.
Indeed. And if you'd like to join our podcast team, DM us on Instagram at the LightBulb Official.
Thank you for tuning in today, and remember to show appreciation for your mothers this Sunday. We all know that the only reason computers are so smart is because they listen to their motherboards.
Dad jokes aside on Mother's Day. See you next time.
So, we take it into the context of the crime scene. So the crime scene has dispersed. Yeah, I think I give up. Aw, darn it. I guess I can't pay back those mortgages. It's mortgages. Mortgages. It's not mortgages. Mortgage. The T is silent. Right, that's what I said. Mortgage. I won't be able to pay off my mortgages.